Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the challenges related to the agile testing. So this topic contains the challenges and the issues regarding the agile practices not being followed properly and what sort of challenges that we are facing during the agile testing. So let's quickly go through uh, what we have in the content today. So before moving on to the agile testing, let us first understand what is meant by the term agile in the business context. Agile refers to be the methodology that can create and respond to changes. It involves asking these particular questions while working on a project. So what are the questions? What is happening in the project? Identify what sort of risks and problems you have to deal with. How can you adapt to the risk and prepare for the efficient response, in which you are going to create the risk plan, the mitigation plan against those risks, and how you are going to deal with it. So this agile method can be rendered useful to any business process such as program management, software development, testing, etc. We go to the introduction slide. So in this fast-paced technological world, the need for integrating the change requirements in the software product in an effective and efficient manner, together with the delivery of the product in the least possible time, has made the most of the organization to embrace and implement the agile methodology of software development. In agile development, methodology is an evolutionary approach which provides the delivery of the software product in the increment after each iteration or sprints of short duration. Exactly, the agile testing is. The agile testing is one of the most important components of the software development processes. In conventional software development methodology, testing is generally done after the development stage of the software is finished in the Word format. However, in the agile methodology, testing is continually carried out along with the development. Agile testing imparts continuous feedback to the development phase. Agile testing can commence at any stage of the development process. This methodology is continuous method, unlike the waterfall method, which is sequential. And if you can see the image and the diagram, how it actually starts. We have the requirements and then initiate the project. Then we have the several development phases in which we are going to test and integrate the solution that we have delivered. And then we have the continuous visibility from the customer, developers, and the users. Once we have the feedback and reviews and time to market, what is the possible time to release? And that's how a whole cycle works. So agile testing is one of those testing types that follow the principle of agile methodology, like we have discussed in the previous slides as well. Some of the features of agile testing are continuous testing, less or no documentation work, systematic feedback and review. In this modern days, we have a new technology which we actually use. It named as DevOps. So DevOps is a culture that promotes collaboration between the development and operation teams. That's why we call it as Dev from development and Ops just for the operations. This allows developers to deploy code to the production faster and in an automated way. It helps to increase the organization's speed to deliver the application and services. It can be defined as an alignment of the development and the IT operations. So once the code is deployed, it is tested automatically as a part of it. If there is any failure, the code will return. So that's how in a modern day developers are more likely to use DevOps. So the tool selection, customary automation tools are used to automate the testing processes of fully developed software products which may not require any further changes. But if you are thinking to carry out tests with the agile methodology from the beginning, along with the development, it would be feasible to automate the testing process at the early stages. So once we have the automated testing, it will be very easy to carry out through the automation rather than you are performing all the steps manually, and it will take time, which impacts the productivity as well. Furthermore, automation may be introduced at a later stage, but still, these traditional tools are suitable for the agile environment. Selecting the right and suitable tool for automating the agile test environments is the major challenge for the testing team. So like we have Selenium, and we have API testing, and we have Postmans, we have REST APIs. So we have a lot of technologies and tools within the DevOps and in Jira and in multiple tools where we can perform the agile testing. So let's talk about the last minute change. Although we all know that the sprint goal is fixed during the sprint, the sprint backlog is not. So that is the statement which we need to change. Though we have the time box duration of the sprint, however, we don't have a fixed and the rigid backlog goal. And backlog goal means the requirements acceptance criteria keeps on changing, which is a bad practice, honestly speaking. Once the sprint is locked and starts, you cannot change any of the acceptance criteria under any of the stories. And it is the responsibility of the scrum master to maintain and get this thing to make sure that there will be no change incorporated once the sprint start. Because let's suppose if you get any new change during the end of the sprint, then it will impact the developer's productivity and team's credibility as a part of the work done. So if that new added requirement is not getting developed, or even if it is get developed, so it will not give an ample time to the testers or the UATs to get this application tested thoroughly. And that will result into a spillover, which is also not good as far as the management perspective and reporting is concerned. So like we mentioned, the one of the purpose of the agile methodology is to cater to the need of the implementing the frequently changing requirements and features in the software product. Still to consider and bring changes when a software is almost ready to be released is one of the most challenging. Like I said earlier, that changes may come at the last stage or in the last few days of the sprint end. So that is a big challenge. An active factor that an agile tester has to face, keeping in the view of the approaching deadline. Lack of documentation. Again, another challenging point is agile testing or the agile methodology does not include any sort of a requirement gathering or a documentation. Therefore, a non-availability of the documentation work hinders at the agile tester in verifying and authenticating the functionality and the feature of the software, as they are ignorant of the requirement against each of the software needs to be tested. As we all agree that agile does not appreciate a lot of documentation. However, as a part of a testing, there has to be some test scenarios to be provided to the tester as a part of the story from the product owner. That what is the flow that he is going to test and for what he needs to make those changes in the stories. So that's how, without a documentation, proper requirement documentation, you can provide the scenarios to the tester that these are the scenarios that we are targeting, and those scenarios will focus testing on around specific feature. Limited test coverage. The quick small iteration and the need to deliver product after each iteration forces the testing team to focus and emphasize on the essential features and functionality modified at each sprint. Thus, a majority of the features and functionalities cannot be covered under the regression testing suites. So what exactly happens that we usually perform the QA testing and the unit testing and integration testing at every sprint once the story is done. However, for the proper integration testing of all the user stories which are combined to a single feature or epic, what usually teams and organizations do that the last sprint of before the release, they dedicated that sprint for the integration testing and the UAT testing. So the complete end-to-end testing that what we have developed in the development environment is going to be tested in the UAT environment. So at least before uh, rolling it out to the production, to the actual users, people might aware of this thing that everything is working fine. Frequent changing code. The arriving requirement may bring a small or large amount of change in the already existing code after each sprint or iteration. That is why Agile and Scrum is an iterative model that we always welcome the change. Therefore, the codes are required to be substantiated and authenticated after each iterations, therefore requiring automation of regression test suites and additional burden of the agile testing team. So once all the changes are done in the already deployed code or in application, team is going to verify what are the impact of these changes through requirements traceability matrix so that they can change the test scenarios accordingly and to retest each and everything in the application that they have changed as a part of that change, and then it will be rolled out to the UAT and after that in the production. Communication. Agile does not consist of any documentation work. Still, teams and stakeholders, clients collaborate frequently to address various issues relating to the gathering of requirements, analyzing it, changing it, correcting it, and more. However, Agile needs good and proper communication between the teams, including the client, to easily understand the requirements. That is why Agile focus on the 4 ceremonies just to keep and maintain the empirical and the adaptation and the transparency so that everyone is aware of what is happening. So we have discussed in detail all the issues related to the and challenges related to the agile testing. Now if we go to the conclusion, furthermore, the testing team also need to have proper communication with the development team, as they may help the testing team in understanding the features and the functionality of the product and in carrying out the testing activities in the non-existence of any documentation work during each sprint. To conclude, it is significant to share that find the agile testing tool carefully to have a bug-free version of the software product with each iteration. That will help you to perform testing efficiently and bug-free. So guys, this is the end of our today's discussion. Please let us know in the comment section if you need any other videos or any other tech reviews. I'll be more happy to share you. And then please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. Thank you. We'll meet again with the new and the latest tech video on the Technical Software Champion. Bye bye.